The question that concerns a lot of people is when we focus on pronunciation, the fluency suffers. Or when you speak fluently, accuracy suffers. So this is the question about accuracy and fluency, yeah, or accuracy versus fluency. And I'd like to start by saying that speaking is a neurologically complex process. And I'd like to invite you to think about the way when you speak your mother tongue, how many processes are automated. So firstly, you have to think about what you want to say, right? The concepts, the logic, your point, and you just say it and you don't think much about what grammar to use, which ending, what case, what not, yeah? Which words to choose. And of course, the last thing you think about is how to pronounce it. So you don't need to go like, okay, I need to bunch up the back of my tongue to say u in the. Yeah, so like never. So that's of course when you're in your mother tongue, a lot of things are automated and they don't take up your brain's capacity. When you speak English, of course, there are more things that you, as a foreign language, there are more things that you need to think about, especially, well, depending on your level. But even if you are really fluent and you have a high level of English, it's still a foreign language and you have to think a bit more carefully, maybe. It will take up a little more space in your again, like operational memory to choose the grammar, to choose the words, and to pronounce them. And then, well, you've learned English and you've adopted a certain accent that feels natural to you. So you don't think about it that much. So it's also kind of automated. But as we discussed, it's still already different from speaking your mother tongue, where you don't have to think about anything but what you want to say. So speaking a foreign language, right? And then when you change your accent and you have to think about how to say things, it becomes this conscious process of controlling your sounds. And of course, your fluency drops because the brain's capacity is overloaded and something has to give. So it's either fluency that drops when you control your sounds and you can't speak as quickly as before, as fluently and easily as before, or when you do speak quickly and easily, you can't control your sounds, your accuracy will go. And so this, just to outline this, that this is an entirely normal process and we don't have any other way of going through this change without going through this process. So when fluency will have to be sacrificed if you want to improve your accuracy. So that's something just I wanted to get out of the way, yeah, and then I'm going to give you some tips. I understand that it can be a very frustrating stage where it's like, I can't speak like that forever. I want my fluency back. But it's just I want you to remember that it's a temporary phase and everyone goes through it. And if your fluency doesn't change, doesn't suffer, then probably you're not changing anything. You know, some people will also have this approach where I'm working on my pronunciation, I'm doing the exercises, I'm studying things, but when I speak, I don't change anything because I want to express my thoughts, and you'll just keep speaking your accent, and so you have to sacrifice it, okay? And I went through this as well, and it might not feel very nice. You feel like, you know, very self-conscious about many things, and also you can't speak confidently enough, so that sucks. But and you add anxiety to the mix, it's even worse. Yes, Mia, exactly, absolutely. So let's see what we can do about it. So accuracy and fluency, how to balance the two. Firstly, accept that you can't have both right away. Yeah, like it's incredible. Like our brain, I sometimes just sit and think, oh my God, our brains are so amazing, right? And how many things they do. And you can't be just like, hey, I learned the rule, why can't I apply it? Like, what the hell? Something's not right. But it's normal. And you have to accept this. And it's temporary. I don't know. Don't ask me how long this phase is. It depends. And again, it's not like static. It's not like you don't have fluency for a year and then suddenly you have it, right? It's like an ongoing process where bit by bit you recover your fluency, and we'll discuss how to do that. But yeah, first thing is acceptance, embracing this. I'm learning, I'm changing, that's great, and I have to just speak more slowly and I can't be as fluent as before for some time. And while practicing, decide on what to focus on a particular occasion. So For example, okay, so how to focus on accuracy if you want to practice that, yeah. Well, of course, some exercises and drills when you just see the word and you solely say it for the purpose of practicing your pronunciation without thinking about the meaning. You don't have to construct any thoughts. So you practice the sound, word, and phrase, and maybe even sentences. So that's great when, if you're an active learner, if you're a very like invested student, what you'll do is probably, I don't know, if you're practicing the word like Google, and you'll be like, Google, Google, I'm trying to get the vowel, Google, Google, and then you'll go a phrase, let me Google it. You'll try a phrase. Yeah, what can I say with this word? How can I use it? Because it's for me to use it later on. Yeah, like my teacher can't be correcting me there when I speak. Yeah, so Google, I'll Google it. I'll Google it later. Oh, I saw it on Google, right? So like you try adopting it and trying the phrases that this sound and word will contain. And it's more likely with this active implementation approach that you'll, when you speak and you have to say the word Google, that your brain will kind of guide you towards that direction. Not necessarily right away. It might be like, you know, you fail 8 times, you get it right 2 times, and then you fail, I don't know, 5 times, you get it right 5 times, and then you succeed more than you fail. So I mean, maybe failing is not the best word, but you know what I mean. So reading aloud is another great tool for accuracy, because when you read, you don't have to think about how to construct that thought. So it's already there and you don't need to think about the meaning even, you know, read everything you see out loud. That was also something that I used a lot at the very beginning and later on, because you have this safe space where you can just practice and experiment and listen to yourself and analyze and slow down. So reading aloud is really useful for that. And then something that can help you bridge to fluency is, while still controlling your accuracy, is audio diary. It's also something that I used to do, where you basically talk about what's on your mind and you record yourself. I just used voice notes on my phone, and but you control pronunciation. Why, what, how this works and why this can help is, again, it's another safe space where you're not communicating, you're not actually sharing it with anyone, nobody's listening, it's just you. And so nobody's going to think you're weird for speaking like, I don't, for example, we go like, I don't know what to share. Oh, I don't know what to share. Like, and you control it, you say it many times and you record this, and this is your, and then you go like, so today the weather is really nice. Yeah. And you can correct yourself, you can slip up, and you can pay attention to both what you're saying from your own mind and how you're saying it. And you don't have to rush right away. But this is like the bridge from, I've learned to say it this way, so let me now apply it to creating a thought and expressing it while also keeping my pronunciation in check. Now, when it comes to fluency, firstly, yeah, be patient and accepting about any slips. In the message, there was a point about when I deliver a training, I get those American R's slipping in, yeah? So firstly, it's entirely fine. I mean, if you need to deliver a training to people and you can't be like correcting yourself or being panicking about those things when they happen, because you have another objective. So again, accuracy has to wait. But and it happened to me when I was starting to change my pronunciation on my own and transition from a more American accent. Of course, I had all those R's, and I was giving lessons, general English lessons, and I was trying to speak, like to implement. And sometimes I would say, "Oh, that's much better." Yeah, and sometimes I would say, "Oh, that's much better." Well, what can you do? You know, and the students, well, they don't notice, so so it's fine. But this is a normal transition stage where this will happen, and let it be, right? As long as you are aware, and the person that wrote the message about the R's clearly is aware that I said it this way. So this is the way to changing when you realize what happens. And then try to include the chunks that you drilled. Like I just gave the example with Google, yeah, it could be more universal chunks. Like, I don't know, if you have to say the phrase, if you have to give a presentation and say, now let's move on to blah, 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 yeah. Drill that phrase, try this many, many times, focusing just on pronunciation. And then it will kind of encourage you, will help you to construct your speech with more confidence. But I know like it's a bit far-fetched because you can't control everything that you say, and you still have this process of delivering a speech from scratch, so it can be difficult. But yeah, with time it gets easier, and that's something that can support you. Coming back to how you build accuracy, you're building a new physical skill, so your purpose in the end to automate that movement for that particular sound, word, phrase so much that you don't have to think about it, right? Like in your mother tongue. And that's also the accuracy training will support the fluency, because then as you speak you'll have to think less and less about it. It will happen if you keep up the accuracy training. And control one thing at a time when speaking can be a good tool as well. For example, you could choose to focus on the goose vowel and try to spot the words where you have to say it, right? Or it could be, for example, that R thing, yeah, the R. It's as you speak, maybe you've taken a pronunciation course and you know how to say things, but then when you speak spontaneously it slips up. That's entirely normal. But what you can do is isolate that feature that you realize has slipped up, like the R, and drill so many words, as many words as you can with this R, like I'm going like however, teacher, whatever, yeah. So that you can target that, and then probably next time you have to speak fluently, less words will have the R than you used to have. So these would be my recommendations for accuracy and fluency. And I know that I haven't covered all the questions that you sent, but this is what we had time for and a bit more.